Being diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease can be a scary, tumultuous period. And that's why I want to share with you the ways in which I plan on staying flare-free this year. My name's Jacob and I've been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis for over 10 years. And over that time, I've been through the ringers, I've been to hospital, I've been through the flares, I've bled a lot in the toilet, and I have come up with methods to help me stay as healthy and as fit as possible whilst living with the consequences of inflammatory bowel disease. So let's get into it. The first way in which I'm going to be trying to stay as healthy as possible this year is by treating sleep as a job. Sleep is my top priority and it should be your top priority too. Sleep is so important in the healing process. And not just that, not just the physical stuff that's going on, but the mind as well. The times that sleep eluded me when stress and all of the ways that inflammatory bowel disease was affecting me stopped me from being able to think straight, I was not sleeping, and that sleep made me feel crazy. I felt like I could not cope with what was going on, let alone the physical side effects. I just could not cope with the toll that ulcerative colitis was having on my body. And focusing on sleep and creating a rigorous sleep schedule that I have stuck to for over 2 years now, day in, day out. I always go to sleep at the same time. I wake up at the same time. Some days will be bad. Some days you won't get much sleep. But as you stick to that routine, you might find that sleep actually comes more often than not. And those days where you don't get much sleep are few and far between compared to how they used to be. My sleep used to be completely erratic and all over the place, and I would never know if I was going to sleep that night. It actually caused me a lot of anxiety. I'd go to bed worrying and thinking, will I sleep tonight? I really hope I sleep tonight. And I just have to lie there until I naturally passed out, which is no healthy way of living. And I could not plan things in the morning because I was just so anxious as to whether I would be able to get up and feel okay in the morning. So focusing on sleep like it's your full-time job, that is one of the first ways that I would say is the best way to keep you healthy this year. The second way is with diet. So diet is very, very particular to each person. The foods that work for me will not work for you. But the best way that you can deal with this is make a note of the foods that do work for you. Maybe take note of how some other people have eaten and got through flares and try them. Only through experimentation will you find the foods that do truly work for you. And once you find them, stick with that. Don't deviate from the plan. I have found a way of eating that really helps me, and I stick to this plan day in, day out, and it gives me energy, it makes me feel a lot better, it promotes healing, and I'm able to stay flare-free as of right now. I need to touch some wood. I know I say this in every video, I am not superstitious, but I will touch that wood. I don't want to jinx anything. So finding a diet that works for you is of utmost importance, and I will give you some tips that I have followed. First of all, I just completely gave up chocolate. I haven't eaten chocolate in over a year now. I haven't got a set date of when the last time I ate chocolate, but it's been a really long time, and just cutting out all that junk. Don't bother drinking like Coke or Pepsi or any of those drinks. Just cut them out. You're better off without them. Just drink water. Some people will say give up coffee. I'll be honest, even when I was in hospital, I could not give up my coffee. I did drink mostly caffeine, but I would have a really weak caffeinated coffee first thing in the morning when I was in hospital, and then it was decaf for the rest of the day. So you could limit your coffee use because it can put some stress on the gastrointestinal system, make you go to the bathroom, which is not what you're looking for during a flare. So do consider removing it from your diet if you feel like you can. I, for one, I'm a bit of an addict, been drinking coffee for years, and I thought, I'm not giving it up. Even though I feel this awful, I'm sticking with it. You've got to have some of your vices after all. But like I said, I limited my coffee use. I probably had like not even half a spoon of instant coffee, and then the rest was decaf, and it felt like I was drinking coffee throughout the day. That was one way that I got through that. So we've talked about diet. Just eliminate the junk. Very simple. We've talked about sleep. Treat it like a full-time job. And of course, to follow that up, is exercise. Now, I know I go on about this in every single video I upload. These lists are very similar, but that's because it's just that important. And I'd like to give you guys refreshers on these things just to keep them at the top of your mind. Exercise is a fantastic way. It's almost like therapy. I used it as a therapy when I was flaring. I was still flaring, bleeding, going to the bathroom, and I was still deadlifting because I wanted to pick up some weight, and it was the only thing that made me feel like a man again. It's the only thing that got I called it my man juices. They were flowing because I went out in the garden and I picked up some bloody weight. And I will say that this really helped me. It gave me a boost. It made me feel normal for a period. I might have just run to the bathroom, but I'd get outside, I'd pick up some weight, I'd feel the strain in my muscles, and I'd think, yes, I'm still alive. I am still a man after all, even though my body's kicking me down. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and do deadlifting. I know many of you have probably not even deadlifted before. So just go out for a walk. If you're sat at home stressing, worrying, feeling like you can't cope, getting out the house and going for a walk is one of the best ways that you can deal with it. And if you're worried about going to the bathroom, order yourself some pads off of Amazon and wear them when you go outside. This way you don't have to worry. Just soil the pad and then just deal with it when you get back. But get out the house, not brooding in the house and constantly laser focusing on that, that flare that you're in. Get out the house and go for a walk. It will help tremendously. And if you are feeling a little bit more physically capable, there's all sorts of things you could do. You could simply do some push-ups. There's tons of workouts that you could do at home that aren't high impact and will help you feel better. So do some exercise. Trust me on this. I know it might sound awful at first, but if you give yourself the time and the space to get used to exercising, trust me, it does such a world of good, and it is like a therapy. I can't even imagine a way of recovering from anything, let alone the mental trauma of an ulcerative colitis flare or a Crohn's flare, whatever it is. You've been through a lot of stuff here. That's a whole mental trauma in itself. But any sort of stress in life, I can't imagine being able to deal with it without exercise. It's that important. So all of these things will help you manage your stress, which is the next thing, is learning how to manage your stress. Stress was one of the main counterparts of all of this flare nonsense, and the effect on me was I was very stressed. In fact, those corticosteroids that you've been more than likely prescribed are making you more stressed as well. So learning to deal with stress management is one of the best things that you can do for your long-term health, flare or no flare. Learning not to ruminate on those things, not to think about the future so much. I know it's kind of a monkish view is to focus on the now. You may have heard that. Focus on right now. But if you are truly able to focus on the right now, you will honestly feel so much better. Coping strategies for dealing with stress. When I was in peak flare, I was a few days off from going to hospital. I played video games. I just let myself play some video games, even though I felt rubbish, and I let myself complain about it. Give yourself space to complain if you want, but do something that is going to let you take your mind off of it. I played a lot of video games, almost just escapism. Do whatever it is that you enjoy. For me, it was playing video games. They've been a big part of my life, so it's a nice thing to retreat to. I find often during those peak times of stress where I feel awful, playing a video game comes more naturally. I'm able to sit there and play it. It's almost like my mind just wants a reprieve from the stress that I'm feeling. That's just one coping mechanism. Another one is community. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you've definitely heard me say all these points before, but community is so helpful. One of the things that got me through my time in hospital was actually joining an inflammatory bowel disease Discord and talking to people just like me. Perhaps even people that have already been through it. Maybe people with stomas, people who are they're also in peak flare, people in all sorts of health states, different states to you, and they're more knowledgeable than you. It's so useful and very calming actually to ask any questions that you have to the inflammatory bowel disease Discord. And I've got my own one if you're interested in joining my one. link down below. Community got me through the hard times. Just being able to speak to them, having DMs open, talking to people, I found that so incredibly helpful. And those are the key ways that I plan on staying flare free this year. There's also medication. Now I know many of us, we don't want to be on our medications, especially not long term, but the truth is medications are the best way of managing your ulcerative colitis or your Crohn's disease, whatever it may be. Although doing everything that I say will help make those medications more effective, like doing your sleep, doing your exercise, doing your diet, managing your stress, these all compound into making medications even more effective than they already would be. But taking your medications is key. Finding that medication that works for you. So if you are struggling right now and you're on a medication that is not really working for you, I urge you to contact your doctor, contact your specialist, whoever it is that is managing your care. Talk to them. Tell them exactly what's going on. If you haven't been truly open and honest with how you're feeling to your healthcare provider, try that today. Send them a message, tell them exactly what's going on, tell them all the problems that you're facing, and get on a medication that will help you manage your IBD. Because that is the truly life-changing experience for me anyway, is getting on a medication that works. And if it starts to not work, tell your healthcare provider straight away. I promise you, this is one of the key ways of getting out of the flare. You've got to try the medications. And if you're an anti-med person, just give it a go and see if it helps you. Trust me on this. So those are the main ways that I plan on staying flare free this year. I hope that that has helped some of you, because ulcerative colitis is such a confusing disease. It wreaks havoc on your life. It's so stressful. It kicks you down in so many ways. It really does. And I hope that some of these methods that I've told you about today can help you get through these times, because I know how hard they can be. And remember, if you need anyone to talk to or you want to talk to me, leave a comment on this video or join the Discord down below, and you can talk to other people in similar positions. Thanks for watching.